It's all covered in today's China Truths.
A few months ago, the internet lit up after Google Earth captured something bizarre in Australia. Thousands of shiny BYD electric cars dumped in an empty water park. Perfect rows of untouched vehicles, no plates, no owners, no movement, stretching across the grounds like some post-apocalyptic exhibit. The images were eerie enough to spark a frenzy. Social media exploded with headlines calling it a secret drop site or a mass car burial, feeding a wave of confusion and suspicion. Why were so many brand new cars hidden here? And what exactly was BYD trying to sweep under the rug? Jamboree Action Park, normally known for water slides, sunburns, and summer chaos, turns into a ghost town from late April to September. Vast parking lots sit untouched for months. But this year, something unusual filled the dead space. Satellite snapshots revealed more than 1,600 BYD EVs lined up with military precision. Dolphins, seals, seagulls, every model you'd expect at a dealership, not a water park. A surreal ocean of EVs in a place built for splashing water and family vacations. The strangest part? Not a single one had a license plate. They looked like trophies no one wanted, polished, road-ready, yet abandoned. Word spread fast. Locals complained about the strange sight, the council took notice, and the story snowballed into a public spectacle. People who grew up loving the park felt blindsided. Hundreds of comments poured in. Shock quickly morphed into mockery. Some accused BYD of hiding unsold stock to inflate numbers in China. Others joked that Beijing would soon declare Kiama part of the South China Sea. A few voices were harsher, saying the cars should rot in the sun and accusing China of exploiting Australia. Old grievances resurfaced too, memories of China blocking Australian wine imports, economic friction, political bitterness. BYD tried to calm the storm with claims of booming sales, up 150%, and insisted the cars were simply being staged for future distribution in 2026. Critics laughed off the explanation, saying no manufacturer stockpiles cars for a year or two before selling them. It only fueled more suspicion. Jamboree's general manager, Matt George, stepped out to clarify. The company was merely renting out unused, pre-approved parking areas during the park's off-season. A family-run vehicle transport firm had arranged to store the cars there until dealerships were ready to receive them. According to the park, everything was legal. Their lawyers confirmed no new permits were required. For a seasonal business, the extra money kept staff employed and maintenance running during quiet months. As Matt George told A Current Affair, they couldn't understand why officials were suddenly objecting to a car park being used as a car park. Public reactions split down the middle. Some accused the park of not greasing the wheels with the council first. Others defended Jamboree, calling the backlash bureaucratic nonsense. "You approve a massive car park," one commenter wrote, "and then complain when it actually has cars in it?" Even people who dislike EVs admitted the park had every right to make use of its land during downtime. Industry experts weighed in too. James Ward from drive.com.au stressed that the EVs weren't charging or posing any risk. They were literally just parked. BYD had imported roughly 51,000 EVs into Australia over the previous year, but sold only about 38,000, causing overflow stock to be stored at multiple locations, including Jamboree and a Melbourne yard. For the park, it was a simple survival strategy: temporary work, steady income, and no construction required. They argued openly that the deal created jobs and supported EV rollouts, contradicting sensational headlines about car graveyards and cover-ups. But then Kiama Council made its move. Officials declared the storage operation a transport depot, requiring development consent, and said such activity wasn't allowed in rural zones. Yet even after the warning, trucks continued rolling in. Witnesses saw carriers unloading more fresh BYDs as if nothing had changed, engines humming, ramps lowering, and rows expanding. Soon after, Jamboree posted and quickly deleted a 400-word message on Instagram thanking sympathetic counselors and blasting the fear-mongering coverage that had blown the situation out of proportion. Headlines screaming, "Secret operation exposed," "Fleet abandoned," and EV burial ground exploded across social media, each more dramatic than the last. None of it stuck. Jamboree insisted it would fight the council's ruling all the way to the Land and Environment Court. Meanwhile, BYD Australia behaved like a perfectly programmed machine. No explanations, no arguments, just a single corporate statement blasted to every newsroom. "We follow the rules." Our logistics partner coordinates multiple storage sites near Port Kembla. Jamboree approved temporary use. Once Kiama Council requested a development application, we complied. These vehicles are assigned to customer orders and reflect our commitment to timely delivery. It was robotic, sterile, and designed to kill the story. But the story didn't die. It shifted. Within hours, the transport trucks came roaring back. Engines humming in unison, haulers rolled in and out like a conveyor belt. 160 BYDs disappeared every hour. The massive car field evaporated in less than 2 days. And when all the statements were finally tallied, they all shared the same message. Everyone insisted they were following procedure, until the procedure caught up with them. The so-called scandal that dominated headlines melted almost instantly. Kiama Council held firm, repeating that both sides welcomed community interest and were working toward a constructive resolution. What the public saw was only the surface. The real story emerged when BYD's quarterly financials hit the market. Revenue fell to 194.985 billion yuan, about USD 27 billion, down slightly year over year. But the real shock was profit. A drop of over 32% and more than 36% after stripping subsidies. It was BYD's first quarterly stumble since 2022. Suddenly, the overflowing car parks made sense. From January to September, BYD sold 3.26 million vehicles, but growth slowed from 32% to just 18.64%. September was a red flag. 396,300 sold, 405,600 built, a 5.52% year-on-year drop. Monthly growth slid from barely positive in July and August to outright negative in September. BYD didn't sugarcoat it. They blamed brutal competition, price wars, and soaring development costs. Their response? Flood the global market with cars, slash prices repeatedly, and hope sheer volume would buy breathing room. But when production kept outpacing demand, the excess had to be parked somewhere. That's how holding lots in Australia turned into overflow reservoirs. Investors weren't amused. BYD stock dipped roughly 4% on the Hang Seng as analysts declared the frenzy of easy EV profits officially over. When the trucks finally cleared out of Jamboree, they weren't just responding to a council order, they were cleaning up the consequences of a factory engine running too hot back home. And then came the policy twist, the part that tied everything together. Australia's new Vehicle Efficiency Standard, NVES, was meant to accelerate cleaner transport, but it carried a loophole so large you could drive a convoy through it. Credits were issued the moment cars landed in the country, not when they were sold. As the Daily Mail explained, brands with low-emission vehicles received generous credits for every compliant import. BYD realized quickly, an EV earns credits the instant it touches Australian soil, even if it sits untouched in a paddock for months. Each imported car could generate credits worth up to $100 per gram of CO2 saved. Sales didn't matter. Suddenly, empty asphalt became a money-making machine. Import first, cash in the credits, figure out the sales later. Critics say this loophole is precisely why thousands of BYDs spread across holding sites nationwide. Nearly 13,000 new cars ended up scattered among 3 giant storage areas, silent, pristine, and plateless. Competitors who only import what they can sell watched as BYD turned overflow lots into financial leverage. Inevitably, the bubble burst. prices dropped. Dealerships scrambled. A family-friendly water park became an overnight warning sign that incentives, if poorly timed, can be exploited. Kiama Council's rejection of the development application didn't fix the structural flaw in the NVES. It simply shut down one of several improvised storage yards. The broader lesson came into focus. If a policy rewards arrival instead of actual sales, the system encourages stockpiling just as much as it encourages cleaner cars. A single satellite image set off a chain reaction, exposing a production-heavy strategy, a rule with a costly timing gap, a frustrated council, and a slowing global EV market. What looked like corporate trickery was really the predictable fallout of incentives that clashed with economic reality. BYD's rough quarter made the problem impossible to ignore. The NVES timing loophole turned well-intentioned climate policy into a temporary financial shortcut. The easy villains, BYD, the council, the water park, make good headlines. But the real issue sits in the space between regulation and execution. Councils can block permits. Companies can appeal. Trucks can leave in the night. What no one can do is assume that a loophole won't be used when production targets, money, and government credits collide. The result? Angry locals, overwhelmed dealers, and a national policy debate triggered by a satellite snapshot. The cars are gone now, but the core message lingers. Even the best-intentioned rules can be bent unless they're built to be unbreakable. In mainland China, BYD is now facing the harshest downturn since its rise, with warehouses overflowing, unsold vehicles piling up, and production lines still running at full speed despite weakening demand across China. The once booming EV market has slowed sharply, leaving dealerships drowning in inventory and forced into endless discount battles just to stay alive. Consumers, squeezed by unemployment and falling incomes, are no longer rushing to buy new cars, especially high-priced EVs, that have lost their early appeal. Even BYD's aggressive price cuts can't stop the slump, as every reduction only triggers another wave of panic among its competitors. Inside China, charging infrastructure remains inconsistent, battery anxiety persists, and the government's subsidies have shrunk, removing the main engine that once fueled explosive growth. Market data now shows the decline is accelerating, with production outpacing sales month after month. As BYD struggles to digest its massive stockpile and profits continue to fall, the message becomes impossible to ignore. The truth is clear. China's EV industry is entering a slow, irreversible collapse, and the era of its rapid glory is coming to an end.
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.